Have you ever just had a long day, getting ridiculed, treated like trash? Coming home, you get to sit down and enjoy the only joy life can offer you. Putting on an anime and then reliving your abuse as that hot Tsundere waifu does the exact same thing to you as everyone else. Yeah, me neither. I don't leave the house, so joke's on you, no one can ridicule me. The point is, I like getting ridiculed by anime girls on my good days. It's something I do voluntarily, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's an acquired taste of mine, my roof, if you may. But what happens when instead of that high quality tsundere that shows you her good and bad sides, that abuses and plays with your feelings just the right way, you get one that simply annoys you and ruins your day? Well, that's the sort that appears in Josee, the Tiger and the Fish. Josee, the Tiger and the Fish is an anime movie made by Studio Bones and directed by Kotaro Tamura. Adapted from a story of the same name, the movie was released in 2020 to a cinema full of, well, nobody, as everybody was stuck inside contemplating their life choices because of COVID. Basically, the movie is about this guy, who's called Tsundere by the way, that has a dream of becoming a diver and moving to Mexico to study fish. But because he needs to earn some money, he decides to work for this old grandma. His job is to look after a wheelchair-bound girl called Josee who lives with the granny. He's supposed to provide her company and shit like that. At first they hate each other, disagree with one another and constantly argue. Yada yada, basic tsundere behavior you've seen 1,000 times already. But eventually they grow closer to one another and their relationship takes a turn for the better, I guess? The plot of the movie isn't anything to write home about in my opinion. It's your typical boy meets girl, hate at first but love later type of deal, with a couple of spices added to make it better along the way. There are a couple of twists here and there that add a bit of flavor to the whole movie, but it doesn't elevate it much. It's not bad by any means, it's well done and everything works well together in the story, but it's a bit bland. But one thing I do have to say is that the story isn't afraid to put our main characters through tough situations, which I do appreciate, even though it annoyed me at times. The story isn't happy-go-lucky either, and the characters don't live in some kind of fantasy land where everything ends up being fine in the end. Reality booty whoops them a couple of times in the movie. The movie, however, has one fatal flaw, a problem so large that it renders the movie almost unwatchable. This flaw was so large that it made me pause the movie and walk around the room to calm down multiple times during its runtime. You might be wondering what that fatal flaw is. What could be so horrendous that it would make you stop and have to calm down in a stunningly animated movie like this? It's the main female lead, the tsundere. She just sucks. I don't exactly know why, but for some reason during the entire runtime of the movie, she just made me hate her more and more and more and more with every single scene she was in. In the beginning, I thought nothing of it. Every tsundere has to be an asshole at some point in the story. That's the main point. And that's what sickos like me like. But over the course of the movie, it just kept getting worse and worse. I kept up hope, like the good boy I am, that it would get better, that God would hear my pleas and give her a scene that made her likable. And it almost happened. They were so close to pulling it off. Spoiler alert, obviously, when her grandma died and she had to find a job and give up her dreams of drawing, I felt that. I was almost at the point where I was starting to like her. I only needed another small push for me to like her, only one, but they fucked it. She continued acting like an ass and I just couldn't take it any longer. All the progress they made earlier was gone and my hatred for her returned, stronger than it ever was. Perfect balance was not reached. Everything wasn't how it should be. Tsuneo, the main character of the story, his life seemed to only worsen after meeting Josee. He had a dream and a way to achieve it before he met her. He didn't seem like he was missing anything from his life. I mean, he wasn't getting any pussy, but that's beside the point. No anime character gets that. But then she came into his life. It was like the Fire Nation had attacked. Our boy was living in harmony, minding his own business, and then Josee came to burn down everything he held dear. It was like she wanted to punish him and 3 generations of his family for merely existing. She was judging him for the good deeds he tried doing, like, leave the man alone. With most tsunderes, you have them show their hard side in the beginning and then show their softness and their weakness later. But with her, it just didn't succeed for me. I don't know how else to put it. They tried, they really did, but I just couldn't buy into it. Every time she took a step forward, in the next scene, she leapt backwards. The characters, other than our two main leads, don't have a lot of depth to them. I mean, what do you expect? This is a movie, not a series. But they aren't bad, so I don't really have anything to say about them. Other than the fact that the other diver girl is best girl, no doubt about it. She was robbed of the victory. I mean, come on, we even get to see her soaking wet. No, not in the way you're imagining it. Get your mind out the gutter. This isn't that sort of movie. When it comes to animation, Bones brought their A game. What do they say? Every frame a picture or something like that? The movie looks gorgeous. It's pleasing on the eyes with a unique art style and fluid animation. The movie looks like what every anime fan would be salivating over, drooling on themselves whilst their poor waifu figurines are forced to look on in disgust at the creatures in front of them, unable to turn their bodies, forced to watch this stomach-turning display of joy foreign to any human other than the creatures known as weebs. They wish to be able to puke, but their bodies prevent them from even giving them that sweet release. Which is another reason why I'm annoyed that they messed up the Tsundere. If only they would have done that right, this movie would be perfect. The animation, music and the story, everything would fit together perfectly. If only they had made the main female lead likable. Guess you can't have everything. With all of that said, my final rating for the movie is... Go watch A Silent Voice. It's a much better movie.